You liar, congratulations on your retirement. Here's a little something to celebrate.
With those words, he tossed a coffee bottle into my hand. It was an irrational gesture.
You're 60 this year, right? Good luck with your next job, if anyone will hire someone your age.
He must be genuinely happy to see me go. Well, let him have his moment. I'll do my best. So Terrence, you try your best too. My name is Michael Harris. I work at Monitor Corporation, and I'm turning 60 this year. The company mainly manufactures and sells LCD displays. After graduating from high school, I didn't have the financial means, so I joined this company right away. Whether it was because sales suited me, I was the top performer among my peers in my first year, and a few years later, I became the #1 customer acquirer. I even received praise from our clients, and I continued to be passionately involved in my work. However, naturally, there were people who didn't think well of me. For example, my boss, Terrence, who judges people based on their education.
Hey Michael, just because you only graduated high school, don't think you can slack off. When I was your age, my accomplishments were much higher.
Oh, is that so?
Of course, for a college-educated elite like me, that's to be expected. Be careful not to overstep, or you'll regret it.
Terrence, despite calling himself an elite, often acts immaturely and childishly. Since our first meeting, he singled me out, and making snide remarks against me is his daily routine. When I got married, he said, "It's unfortunate for a woman to marry a high school graduate," and when I had a son, he quipped, "I guess he'll end up a high school grad too." Maybe he was jealous because he's always been single. There are still many people who judge others by their education. I didn't want my son to go through the same experience, so my wife and I decided to save money diligently. Thanks to that, we were able to send our son to college. After graduating, my son got a job at a major trading company. So, from a societal perspective, my life might be considered fortunate. Even after that, Terrence continued to take out his frustrations on me, but I managed to endure and finally reached the age of 60. This company allows employees to work until 65, so I plan to contribute as a salesman until the end.
Oh, my bad.
While talking to a colleague in the break room, Terrence bumped into me. Moreover, he spilled the bottled coffee he was holding all over my clothes. Whoa, Terrence, this is too much. The suit I was wearing had a large brown stain from the coffee. I doubt it can be washed out. This is the worst.
Hey, don't get mad. It wasn't on purpose. High school grads are really quick-tempered. It's such a problem.
Education has nothing to do with it. Besides, Terrence, you've been spilling things on me for years. Last month it was a stack of business cards. Last week it was the contents of a trash can. And now coffee?
You nitpick so much. Do you want an apology? Sorry.
Terrence apologizes lightly. I've never seen him show a hint of remorse.
Why are you even in the break room right after work started? Slacking off. That's a bigger issue.
My colleague, who had been talking to me, looked away uncomfortably. We were in the break room because he needed my advice. I was just having a discussion with him. Our voices would have carried at our desks, so we came here where it's quiet. Terrence didn't like my response. He frowned and glared at me.
You've always been so cheeky. What have you learned after working here for decades? I'm getting really tired of you.
He made it sound like I was the problem. I looked down at my jacket and sighed. Anyway, I have a meeting with a client later. I'll go home, change, and head straight there.
Yeah, sure. Another excuse to slack off, right?
What?
You plan to use my little coffee spill as an excuse to slack off, blaming it all on me. You really are such a terrible person.
From the beginning, his accusations have been harsh, but this time I can't back down. It concerns the trust of our clients. It's also difficult to send someone else in my place. You've known for a long time that I have a meeting scheduled, and it's because of you, Terrence, that I need to go home. Whether it was intentional or not, I'm leaving now. I'll be back before the end of the day, I said firmly and left. The wet clothes clinging to my skin felt disgusting. I felt sorry for my colleague, who had to end our conversation abruptly.
Hey, don't get cocky just because you didn't go to college.
As I was leaving the break room, Terrence grabbed my shoulder and forcibly stopped me. What more does he have to say?
I haven't given you permission to go home. Are you defying your supervisor? You've gotten too full of yourself just because of your sales performance. Get back to your desk and work.
So, you want me to meet our clients dressed like this? There's no one else to send in my place. I'll hand over my tasks to another employee, and I'll deal with the rest after the meeting. Is that a problem? I brushed off his hand as gently as I could and returned to the office. After quickly passing on my tasks, I went home, and my wife was shocked to see me. But she understood when I explained the situation and took care of my dirty suit. She's always been reliable. I quickly changed and just made it in time for my meeting with the client. The meeting went well, and the client was pleased, saying, "We look forward to working with you in the future." I owe my long career to good communication with our clients. It's genuinely gratifying to be appreciated for my work, and words of encouragement mean a lot. They motivate me to keep doing my best. I took a breather and returned to the office, finished my remaining tasks, and left just in time to catch the last train home, worried that my wife might be concerned. The next day, when I arrived at the office, I saw a crowd gathered in front of the bulletin board in the hallway. The board usually has posters and notices about company events, but it's rare to see so many people gathered around it. That's usually more like something everyone would just brush past without much notice. One of my colleagues noticed me and seemed unsure whether to say something. Did something happen? Curious, I approached the bulletin board. I noticed that all the posters had been removed and a single piece of paper was prominently displayed in the center. It was a termination notice with details about my dismissal. What is this? Why was I suddenly fired? And why was it posted here for everyone to see? It's like a public execution. I hadn't been given any prior explanation, and I couldn't remember doing anything that would warrant being fired. I immediately went to the office to confront Terrence. "Terrence, I don't understand why I'm being fired, and posting it on the bulletin board is too much." Terrence showed no remorse, reacting as if it were completely justified.
There are plenty of reasons for you to be fired. Posting it on the bulletin board was to prevent others like you from emerging. No one wants their name publicly shamed for dishonorable reasons.
That's not an answer. What exactly did I do?
It's scary you don't realize. I've been reporting you to HR for a while now. You make disrespectful comments to your supervisor just because of your good sales performance, and you slack off under false pretenses. Yesterday, you went home without my permission. This sets a bad example for other employees. You're out of control. That's the gist of it.
Terrence's only real skill is sucking up to people. He also loves fabricating baseless stories and spreading rumors. He's told people he couldn't go to college because he was a delinquent, and his wife is quiet because he intimidates her. He probably coerces clients into contracts too. I didn't think anyone would believe such stories, but apparently someone did. The head of HR is close with Terrence. If he took Terrence's words at face value, then I'm seen as a problematic employee. I thought it was absurd, but was too tired to fight. No matter how hard I worked, I was insulted by my boss and never properly evaluated by HR. Some colleagues protested my firing, but I didn't want to drag them into it. I accepted my dismissal and decided to leave the company. Originally, I had 5 more years until retirement. It just happened a bit sooner, and it's probably for the best.
You liar, congratulations on your retirement. Here's a little something to celebrate.
While I was gathering my thoughts in the break room, Terrence came in. He tossed a coffee bottle into my hand, claiming it was a celebratory gift. It was an irrational gesture.
You're 60 this year, right? Good luck with your next job, if anyone will hire someone your age.
He must be genuinely happy to see me go. Maybe he thought he could take all my clients and claim my achievements as his own. Well, let him have his moment. I'll do my best. So, Terrence, you try your best too. I replied with a smile. Terrence's face twisted for a moment, but I ignored him and left. 6 months after my resignation, I received a phone call. Around a month after I left, Terrence had called me repeatedly, blaming me for everything that went wrong. I ignored all of them since I had no obligation to listen. I assumed this call was the same, but when I looked at my phone, I saw it was from an unexpected person. It was a client I'd become friends with. Someone who often invited me out for drinks and treated me well. He already knew I'd retired. Really? Crystal Industries wants to hire me? Crystal Industries is a rival company of the one I left. I met one of their employees once and got a good impression of their professionalism and integrity. If I could work with people like them, I would love to. Last week, the client had gone out for drinks with an employee from Crystal Industries and mentioned my retirement. They responded by saying, "We'd love to scout him." That's wonderful news. Please tell my best regards to them. My wife seemed a bit disappointed when she heard I was on the verge of being rehired, but she cheered me on, saying, "Do your best." The 6 months I spent leisurely with her were very meaningful. The person who scouted me was Kevin Spacey, the sales manager at Crystal Industries. When I visited the company, he welcomed me with great enthusiasm.
Michael, I've heard a lot about you from various people. Thank you for accepting our offer. The CEO will greet you later, and he's very excited as well.
Thank you so much for picking me up after I got fired. I promise to work with all my heart. Once I started working at Crystal Industries, I landed several large contracts surprisingly quickly. While the quality of their products is excellent, my motivation was at an all-time high. Moreover, clients who were previously with Monitor Corporation started switching over to Crystal Industries. Their reason was, the products are equally attractive, but the quality of service is vastly different. We trust the company that Michael works for. Kevin was not just pleased but astonished, expressing his admiration.
Since you joined, our sales have skyrocketed. Just looking at the numbers, we've grown about 5 times compared to last year. It's amazing that they let go of someone with your talent. That company has no vision.
After experiencing this, I felt I should have made the move sooner. The current workplace doesn't judge people by their education. It's purely merit-based, for better or worse. However, it also offers a supportive and family-like environment, providing help to salespeople who struggle. When I trained new employees, they quickly started delivering results. Seeing them work so freely and effectively was heartwarming. Now Monitor Corporation is no longer a rival. Crystal Industries is the #1 company in the LCD display industry. Kevin laughed heartily at my comment.
Michael, you're brilliant but a bit mischievous. Still, you're right, and I feel quite refreshed.
A few months after my job change, I started receiving a barrage of calls again. The caller was Terrence. I considered blocking him, but I left it as is, thinking the call history might come in handy someday. Imagining the hot-tempered Terrence shaking with anger every time I ignored his calls was somewhat amusing. Maybe that's the mischievous side Kevin mentioned. I kept in touch with my former colleagues, and it seemed the company was in a bad state. Sales were plummeting, and the employees' dissatisfaction was about to explode. Perhaps Terrence wanted to blame everything on me. In that case, I have even less reason to answer. A few days later, just as I was starting my workday, an unexpected visitor arrived. The receptionist called my name, seeking help. As someone barged in, there was no mistaking it. It was Terrence.
Michael, our company is in ruins because of you.
As expected, those were his words. At this point, it was almost a ritual. Terrence, an unannounced visit is very inconvenient. If you have business, please follow the proper procedures. Although, I'll still refuse to meet you.
Shut up. Do you know what you've done? You're coming back to our company to work off all the damages for free.
From his incoherent ranting, I could tell he had come here on his own accord. The receptionist was a new hire, so she probably couldn't refuse Terrence's demands. That's practically intimidation. What did I do wrong? I was fired by you. There's no way I'm coming back now.
You stole our clients by joining a rival company, and now you act all high and mighty. You're nothing but a thief. We'll sue you for damages.
His threats didn't faze me at all. Non-compete clause. I never signed such an agreement, and it's not in the company rules. I haven't done anything like poaching employees or leaking information, so you can't sue me for damages.
Stop whining. It's annoying.
You're a college graduate, but can't understand simple logic. Your company's sales started dropping right after I left. I joined this company 6 months after I left yours. Doesn't that suggest the problem lies with your company?
Even so, it's a fact that our clients moved to you. What lies did you tell to attract them?
Terrence's attempt to blame me for everything was pathetic. He must be desperate because his position is at risk. At that moment, Kevin stepped in to defend me.
Terrence, he hasn't lied. We've heard from your clients. After he left, you sent your favorite employee to handle them, right? But his rude behavior during introductions angered them.
Well, I thought it would be a good experience for a young employee.
Kevin shook his head in disbelief at Terrence's response.
He didn't understand the contract details or the product. On top of that, he tried to suck up to them by inviting them for drinks. Naturally, he couldn't gain their trust.
Oh,
We didn't invite you here, so please leave.
They both hold the same position as department managers. Yet Kevin's presence and authority were on a different level compared to Terrence. Anyone could see they'd rather follow Kevin. As the tension rose, another man stepped in to mediate.
Terrence, that's enough.
It was Charles Brown, the president of Monitor Corporation. Charles often had health issues and was frequently hospitalized, especially around the time I was fired. He looked better now, suggesting his health had improved.
Michael, I'm sorry for the sudden visit. I came to retrieve Terrence after hearing he came here. Sorry for the trouble.
It's been a while, Charles. Are you feeling better now? Charles smiled kindly at my words. He had been the one to mentor me back when he was a department head.
I'm fine now. However, I deeply regret what happened to you. While I was away, he mistreated you, and I didn't realize it in time. I apologize again. Appointing him as a manager was a mistake.
Charles apologized deeply. Seeing this, Terrence realized the gravity of the situation and hurriedly made excuses.
Charles, it's all Michael's fault. He stubbornly refused to come back, citing all sorts of reasons such as documents like oaths and past matters.
How can you say that, Terrence? Have you ever considered how he felt after being unjustly fired? You must have manipulated the HR manager. This is a clear case of wrongful termination. If anything, he has the right to sue us for damages. Stop talking before you embarrass yourself further.
Terrence, having incurred Charles's wrath, shrank and trembled. He couldn't say another word. Terrence. I addressed him. He looked up at me fearfully, and I spoke with a smile. It must be tough, but do your best. After that, Kevin managed to calm the situation down, and the commotion finally settled. Not only was Terrence held responsible for my wrongful termination, but he was also held accountable for repeated harassment towards employees. Before I resigned, a colleague had consulted me about issues related to Terrence. I advised him to gather evidence and file a complaint, which he did with the help of other coworkers. Desperate to restore his honor, Terrence's actions were too little too late, revealing his true nature. In the end, he was officially fired. The HR manager received severe punishment, including demotion and relocation. Additionally, Terrence faced lawsuits from several employees he harassed. Along with a compensation claim from the company, his debts continue to grow. Moreover, his misconduct became well known in the industry, making it impossible for him to find a job elsewhere. Cornered, he disappeared without a trace. Charles struggled to rebuild the company, but continued to work hard with the remaining employees. The company's products were always excellent, and I genuinely wish them the best since they supported me for many years. I continued to work as a salesman for Crystal Industries. I'm grateful to be able to repay the company that took me in and find great satisfaction in my work. My wife even complimented me, saying, "You're shining brighter than before, making this the most enjoyable time of my life." Though my working years are limited, I am determined to perform my duties with sincerity until the end. Seeing me this way, Kevin asked me playfully.
Michael, feeling good today?
I responded energetically. Yes, I'm in top form.